This is the book, From the Block to the Boardroom. The author, Tracey D. Syphax. Welcome to Tracey L. Fisher Community Speaks.
Thank you, brother.
How you doing?
Doing just fine, sir.
Listen, I read this book, and I relate to this book very well. It was scary reading this book because it had some intimate details in it.
Yes, sir.
So it's like you was a fly on the wall in my life. And I'm sitting here saying, I just met this brother, you know, how he know all this?
Yes,
But when you write from the heart,
yes,
you're going to reach a lot of individuals.
yes, sir.
And you'll never know who you reach until they come tell you.
Mm.
I'm telling you, this book right here
Yes, sir.
reached me.
Yes, sir.
And I'm already doing certain things that you suggest in the book, but it enhanced what I'm doing, and it's confirmation. Could you explain to the audience what made you write this book?
Well, what made me write From the Block to the Boardroom was the fact that I wanted to do just that. I wanted to be able to open up the trials and tribulations of my life, where I come from, single parent, mother on drugs, my only brother killed at a young age. Growing up every day, seeing my uncles and my cousins come home from jail, thinking that that's a normal activity. So what I wanted to do in the book is be able to take people to my lowest point in life and then bring them to where I am today. So I didn't hold anything back, as you can see in the book. I shared every intimate detail of my childhood because I wanted people to be able to see themselves. The audience that I wanted to reach were people like you, were people that are trapped out into that lifestyle, or that are in that lifestyle, that are coming out of that lifestyle, that really think that they don't have an opportunity to change their life and not only do some good things, but do some great things. From the Block to the Boardroom opens that possibility up, and it shows what can be done. No matter how far you've gone down, no matter where you've come from, that we have an opportunity in this country that we live in to not only do some good things, but do some great things.
Now, writing this book, would it be safe to say this was a spiritual transformation for you?
Oh, no doubt. I really believe it. I was just telling a story last week. I spoke at the fatherhood program in Brunswick, and I talked about how I grew up. My mother had 8 sisters and 3 brothers. My grandfather was a pastor. My grandmother was a deacon. As I grew up, I was born in the 60s, I grew up in the 70s, but my aunts and my uncles were completely radical, black nationalists. I had Aunt Aza, who was a 5%er, who used to take me to the parliaments in New York every time that she got an opportunity. I had an uncle that was in the Nation of Islam, my Uncle Chuck X. So I got an opportunity to listen to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. So I grew up under that household of many religions. Even though I really found that Jesus Christ was my way in my life for me. When I was in Broadway State Prison in 1992, and I shared this a little bit earlier with the group, because my grandmother, who used to be a deaconess in the church, told me once before that God was going to find me in the darkest hour. So once I started reading the Bible, and I started understanding when it said that the first will be last and the last will be first, and the stone that the builder rejected, all these things that I was reading in the Bible, I was like, wow, this is great. So I had that transformation, a spiritual transformation, in 1992 when I was in Broadway State Prison, that only led to me wanting to learn more about life and know that I was more than what I was coming up and growing up to be.
In life, there's good traps and there's bad traps. This is a trap, meaning this. This is how you trap me, because you piqued my interest in the beginning of how we used to live in the streets, hustling and everything. That's how you draw them in. Then you start talking about the transformation of whom you are today, and you got it. That's the trap.
That's the trap.
You know what I mean? So when I was reading the book, I said, what do you think he's trying to trap?
I've seen it.
So I said, and then you wasn't like over explaining a story. It was like, I like the way you told the story, but you felt the passion, the happiness part, and the sad part. So it was one of those emotional roller coaster read for me.
Yes.
Because it's stuff in my life I still have to deal with. Sometimes as men, we push stuff behind us,
Yes, sir.
right? So this was a transformation for me as well, from reading this book. Now, what would you like for this book to do, other than be a good read?
Other than being a good read, and I try to make the book a good read so that anybody can pick it up and read it. But the main thing from the block to the boardroom is basically to change and save lives. And that's basically the bottom line of it. I know as a businessman who my target audience was. I knew who I was going after when I wrote the book. So the book is basically written for those who have lived that lifestyle, those that are in prison, those that are out of prison, those that are going to prison, to be able to understand that that is not normal. And not only is it not normal, you can actually say, okay, just like a faucet, you can turn it off. A lot of demons, a lot of stuff that I dealt with as a young man, I realized as I got older that I can turn those things off if I so desire. So my book, spiritual, and everything else that's in it, was basically written to let people know that you can stop it. You can basically come out of it and just basically change not only your life, but your community at the same time, if you so desire.
And what I notice is this. In life, we have very similar lifestyle. And the paycheck, we hustle for the paycheck. Be it whatever we gathered on the corner, hustling, whatever the package brought in. But throughout my incarceration and my growth and development, I learned the paycheck is coming home to your family. The paycheck is seeing your children happy, your grandchildren, your parents, whomever, and your family that looks up to you now in a positive way. Do you find yourself feeling that that's the paycheck?
Wow, that's Tracey. You hit the nail on the head with that one there. I talked about my son and my daughter, who my son is in jail and my daughter is a correction officer. But I also have two granddaughters. And I get an opportunity to see my granddaughters grow into young ladies. And I get an opportunity to play a major role in their life, in their education, because I can afford to send them to the best school. I can play a major role in their education because instead of buying them toys every time I go out of town, I buy them books. So I got an opportunity to control that now. I didn't do that when I was younger. I didn't do that with my son and with my daughter. But I can do that now with my grandkids. So yes, the greatest reward would be able to show my granddaughters and now even still my son and my daughter, because like I said, my son has just turned 30. I didn't change my life until I was 30. So I'm still teaching, yes, them also, but the babies got an opportunity to cultivate their minds and to show them and bring them up the right way. So I am blessed. I am beyond blessed to be able to do that, and it has nothing to do with any monetary gain whatsoever.
All right. I want to thank you for coming and being my guest on Tracey L. Fisher Community Speaks. Tracey, Syphax.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.